It's like no other place in the world. New York, the Big Apple, Gotham City, a place where spectacular natural beauty blends with majestic architectural achievement. And the only way to appreciate the diversity and vibrance of this great city is from the comfort of your seat, high above it all, on Island Helicopter, the largest and most experienced helicopter sightseeing company in the world. Measuring 9 miles long by 2.5 miles wide is the island of Manhattan, the most recognizable skyline in the world, one that is often imitated, but because of its rich heritage, can never be duplicated. Created by glaciers millions of years ago, New York City's 5 boroughs are a group of islands whose ports, location, and natural resources lured settlers and traders nearly 4 centuries ago. Today, New York continues to be the center of global commerce and communication. A vertical maze of concrete, steel, and glass, roof by roof and street by street, with every building carefully placed, having its own special purpose, and being part of an endless urban landscape. The Empire State Building, maybe the world's most famous skyscraper. Since 1931, this 102-story Art Deco structure has been one of the most recognizable buildings in the New York skyline. In 1933, Hollywood used this building as a backdrop in the classic film King Kong. Soaring almost 1/4 mile high, the Empire State Building and its 2 observatories are visited by over 2.5 million tourists a year. Nearby is the Chrysler Building. Considered the princess of the skyline, the Chrysler Building opened 1 year before the Empire State Building in 1930 and is best known for its steel roof spires and unique Art Deco style. The United Nations, dedicated to maintaining world peace and security since 1945. This tall glass-walled structure is known as the Secretariat Building and has occupied this site since 1950. This is Broadway and Times Square, the Great White Way, one of the busiest crossroads in the world. Here is the historic showplace of American theater and home to scores of first-run movie houses. Madison Square Garden, the sports and entertainment center of the city. Featuring a 20,000-seat main arena, the Garden is host to over 6 million spectators a year. Moving downtown, we see the World Trade Center. Also known as the Twin Towers, they are among the tallest and most recognized buildings in the world. These triumphs of glass and steel, along with the Empire State Building, dominate and define the New York City skyline. Open since 1972, these vertical giants are 110 floors each, nearly 1,400 feet high, and have 43,600 windows with 600,000 square feet of glass. Over 400 businesses have offices here, and tourists can enjoy the panoramic view from the observation deck or from the famous Windows on the World restaurant. Just a few blocks away is the financial district and the driving force behind the largest economy in the free world. Close by is Battery Park. Here you can board the Staten Island Ferry or take a sightseeing boat to Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. Known as the Lady in the Harbor, here is the Statue of Liberty. Given to the United States in 1886 by France, this symbol of freedom, standing over 300 feet high on her pedestal, has greeted the millions of immigrants who arrived here by boat in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Today, her torch of freedom continues to remind all Americans of their family roots and that the freedom to pursue their dreams is still alive. Ellis Island lies next to the Statue of Liberty and was the processing center for the millions of immigrants who sought a new life on these shores. Linking the 5 boroughs are New York's many bridges. The most famous is the Brooklyn Bridge, a marvel of engineering that has connected Brooklyn and Manhattan for over 100 years. The entrance to New York Harbor begins at the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. It connects Brooklyn to Staten Island and is one of the longest suspension bridges in the world. Moving over to the Hudson River, we see the George Washington Bridge. Named after the first president of the United States, this great span has linked Manhattan to New York's northern suburbs and New Jersey for over half a century. Just off the Brooklyn Bridge is the Municipal Building. Built as the city's first government skyscraper in 1914, its unique towers and spires stand out with a roof that is 10 stories high. Just south of the Brooklyn Bridge is South Street Seaport. Over 100 years ago, it was New York's main port for shipping. Today, this 11-block district offers visitors the best in shopping, the finest in restaurants, and several museums that showcase New York's 19th century maritime history. Located along New York's famous docks is the Intrepid Air and Space Museum. With 40 vintage aircraft aboard, this famous World War II aircraft carrier is now a floating tribute to the history of naval aviation and recent space travel. Today, the Intrepid continues to impress new generations of visitors. Back in Midtown Manhattan, on Fifth Avenue, we marvel at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Opened in 1906, it is named after the patron saint of the Irish and is one of the most impressive Gothic churches in North America. Across the street is Rockefeller Center, the nucleus of the city, and home to the famous ice skating rink and Radio City Music Hall. Moving up Fifth Avenue, we find the best shopping in the world. Here, exclusive stores like Tiffany's, Cartier Jewelers, and Bergdorf Goodman have been attracting the jet set for decades. Also on Fifth Avenue is the Plaza Hotel, one of the most opulent in the city and a landmark to the discriminating traveler for over 100 years. Here is spectacular Central Park, over 800 acres right in the center of Manhattan that carefully blend nature with man-made elements. Construction began in 1858 and took 16 years to create. This urban oasis is still one of the most advanced landscapes ever designed. Here is something for everyone, no matter what the season is. Lush rolling lawns, shaded by thousands of majestic trees, Central Park is the playground for busy city dwellers and visitors. Located just outside of Central Park on the west side of Manhattan is the American Museum of Natural History, home to one of the largest collections of fossils, dinosaur bones, and animal species. This museum traces the evolution of life as we know it on planet Earth. We move from history to the arts. And just a few blocks away is Lincoln Center. Here, the New York Philharmonic and the Metropolitan Opera perform, making Lincoln Center the mecca of fine arts in the Northeast. Uptown, it's the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Still considered to be a work in progress, this Gothic Episcopal church opened in 1892 and was built in stages over the years. Today, it still has a stone-cutting yard for construction, and upon its completion, St. John the Divine will be the largest cathedral in the world. Nearby is Columbia University, one of the most respected of the Ivy League schools. Originally chartered during the colonial days, Columbia moved to this site in 1897 and today offers studies in medicine, law, the arts, business, and education. Traveling to the Bronx from Manhattan, we catch a night view of America's national pastime, baseball. Here's Yankee Stadium, home to the New York Yankees since 1923. New York's unique geography has created some of the most spectacular beaches along the Atlantic shoreline. Here is the famous Coney Island, one of the city's first amusement areas. And close by are the Rockaways, a peninsula nestled between the Atlantic Ocean and Jamaica Bay.